This is also one I learned from Ginny Hawker, and I always think of my grandmother named Sallie. She got her, my North Carolina grandmother got her music degree in 1910, and I went down to see her as she was in a coma, and I walked in the hospital room, and she woke up and said, "Sallie, so nice of you to come." I went back to her, and she was seeing her sisters up in the corner of the room, and she was about to cross over. This is that, I have seen the Rock of Ages, so I always think of that when I sing this song. We'll get Spud here in just a moment.
Sallie Sublette. Well,
you want me to keep playing this one? I think this one's going to come into tune real quick soon.
you do?
I do. I think it's just working its way up.
It's not bad.
Can you give me the E?
Yeah?
I mean, we'll have to get the rest of the other notes in there too.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
then I'm going to tell you the Rosalie Sorrells joke because it's worthy of repeating. Unless most of you know it. Do you know the classic Rosalie Sorrells joke about the bank president? What could be more timely? And we only wish it were true. So the old lady goes into a bank and she decides she's going to deposit her money. And the tellers are shocked to see that she's pulling this red wagon just overflowing with huge bills. And so, you know, the teller talks to her and kind of pushes a little alert button. And folks come, and the old lady continues insisting to just put the money in the bank. And she won't say anything about where she got it or why she has all the cash or anything. And it so happens that the president of the bank comes walking through and sees this little commotion. And she's really darling, you know, really short. And so he comes over and he steps in, wants to know what's going on. He said, why doesn't she just come up to my office? So everybody backs off, and the old woman goes up to his office, and they sit and talk for a little while, and he says, you know, we've got to keep things really honest around here, so we need to know where you got the money. And she said, son, I don't think it's any of your business, really, but I want it all on a bet. And he laughs, and they carry on, and he says, so I do have to get on to my next appointment. Let's get you your account. We need to know where you got the money, how it all came by. And she said, you know, you are really starting to annoy me. I tell you what, how about we make a little bet ourselves tomorrow we'll have a little bet. And $250,000 tomorrow at 3:30, your balls will be square. And the guy eventually realizes she's dead serious. And he figures he has very little to lose, so he bets her. So the next day she comes. They're waiting. She gets to go up and go right in. And she brings her lawyer with her. And so they sit, and he and the bank president sort of shake hands and grumble a little bit. And finally it's 3:30, and the president says, well, madam, it's 3:30. I hardly think my balls are square, and I'd really like to collect on that bet. And she said, all right, yeah. Well, you gotta let me see, make sure. So he shuts the door, he drops the blind, you know, he kind of undoes his pants and drops her pants, and she goes over, she grabs him, she's looking front and back, and the lawyer falls on the floor, and he starts screaming and yelling, kicking his feet, and the president's going, oh my God, what's wrong with him? The lady goes, oh, don't you mind him, I bet him $750,000 today, 3:30, have the president of the Chase Manhattan Bank by the balls. And that joke was how I knew that being a participant of the American folk music tribe was the path for me.